I have to cut off the branch. Let me go get a cutter. Hi, miltonchang of Bonsaiheirloom. Today I took out another one of the junipers I dug to make it part of my giant forest of junipers, which I think is to emulate what John Naka done. In a sense, it will be quite different. I'm thinking about minimum 6, possibly 12 of these big juniper into a giant pot. It will be quite spectacular, would be different, but it'll be interesting to see what we ultimately decide to do. So from time to time, maybe every couple of weeks or every month, I'll do one to add to the, I'll dig a tree from my garden and add to the forest. So this is one. Not all of the juniper are straight. They tend to grow a little crooked, but you can work around it by turning it with the front that's more straight and more tilted in the back, towards the back, or you can put the curved ones on the side because the middle ones tend to seek light and therefore more straight. So with that in mind, then let me again take this out of a pot as usual. I work on the roots first and then the apex, then work my way down. As you can see, I dig this about, I would say 5-6 weeks ago. You can see a lot of fibrous roots growing. The junipers are really vigorous and already cut off the bottom center in sense of the root. So I would not be, I don't need to reduce it much more, so I leave it alone and the tree will grow faster. That will fit in, the height will fit into a bonsai pot with minimal adjustments. With that in mind then, let me comb out as usual. Comb out the bottom first to expose the base, to decide the front and so forth, because you can't change the base. You can change the root, whereas you can change the top to adjust for the design. And I didn't cheat any in a sense. It's just a random tree that looks somewhat straight and try to blend into a forest, a large forest. But you can see this is about where the tree, the line should begin, the earth line should begin, or maybe here, since this is the fairly large base and so forth. So the soil level can start about here. So like this look like curve, but once I comb it out, it's not curvy. At least I can make it not curvy, because you want the thing to grow straight up to show strength. This is actually pretty straight. I just need to tilt the tree when I put it back in the pot. You see, the tree is actually very straight, which is really good. Well, when I first took it out of the pot, the base looked a little bit curved because that's the tendency for a juniper to grow, because they like to be crooked. And so they are not an upright tree, most of them are not. And so, but it turns out once you comb out the soil, you can see this is actually a pretty straight tree. So I'm really pleased that can be a nice integral part of a forest. You can see so much fibrous roots. Even I'm sure gonna break some fibrous roots when I took the roots out, the soil out, but that's okay. So like the top is curving a little bit, so I can actually tilt it up a little bit more to make it go straight up. With that in mind, then I can start working on the tree. Well, it's kind of tall, so let me take it down for working on the apex. So this look like could be the very top, and then there are branches going down. Or this can be the apex. So this is actually the taller point. So that's what I'll do. I'll make this the apex. Okay, so let me go for it. With that in mind then, so this branch actually comes out a little bit to a side and then go up, which is fine. You don't look that closely when you look at a forest at a distance. So I'm trying to make the apex the tallest point and cut off the surrounding as a first step, and I can do the greater detail later. And I have so much juniper that I would not bother to collect the cuttings from this one. But I just want to tell you, juniper is super easy to grow by cuttings. So if you like to have a forest of juniper, just save all the cuttings, and almost 100% will root if you keep it moist in just about any kind of soil. It's really forgiving. So you can see an apex start to emerge as the top of the tree. Apex just means the top of the tree. No big deal. So I'm just have a top and then branches going to the side. So for example, this is kind of nice, but on the other hand, this is lower, and I already have one that's here that's about the same height. So with that in mind, then I just make this one into a jin to give it a little bit more feature, because sometimes at the top of a forest, the tree tend to be hit by lightning. So the top often have a died off branches. And so this could be one of those. And to make it more simulating what might occur in nature. And whatever you do to make your tree look natural, you ought to be able to explain what happened in nature, even though it's conjecture and simulation and pretend. But that's what makes things look natural, right? Well, I'm really glad many people found my video useful, and some even used the word addictive. That's good, because when you decided someday to really retire and a lot of free time on your hand, you can go back and study my video to kind of like catch up on what I said. Now, this branch is already dead, so must I'll make that into a jin. Now, this is not dead a long time ago, so I can still readily, easy to peel it. Once it's dried out, then it's actually pretty difficult to peel. I can take my time and sand it or whatever to turn it white, but in the meantime, just give a rough, see, it's already more difficult to peel. Otherwise, you can just rotate it and it will all come off altogether. But now I have to scrape it pretty much. And this one also is kind of out of place, so I just cut it off to make it into a jin. I think jin in a forest is very attractive because often that happens in nature. Because oftentimes in a forest, they don't get enough light, and a branch grew for a while, and then the forest gets dense, and then they die off and they become jin. So creating some jin in a forest, it's always attractive. Look at witness John Naka's family forest is full of jin, including at the very top. And his story is like in a forest, tall trees, gets hit by lightning. You know, there's the old Chinese saying, I think the big tree catches the wind on the top of a mountain, which means that they are more likely to get purged in political situation and so forth. They, in a sense, they're more visible. So, for example, here's a design choice. This branch is going this way, and yet this is really a powerful curve below it. It's much more interesting than this. So what you can do, you can also make this into a jin so that it would accentuate the other strong curve. So let me leave it for 1 minute and then see if that's something I can do. Let me clean off some of the junk, in a sense, the redundant branches. I'm saving this just in case I want to use it later. I can also cut it off. But you can see this is such a beautiful tree with this thing going up like this and this branch going out like that. It's poetical. It's poetic. So I would definitely make this, I'll keep this part green, but make this into a dead branch, jin, to accentuate this beautiful curve. So these are the little decisions you make along the way. I had no idea about this one before I see it. I didn't even study the tree. I just want to do it impromptu with you to see how decisions are made on the spur of the moment, because you cannot make mistakes. It will recover, and a tree will recover in the most natural way, its natural tendency to grow. So you can make no mistake, just go for it and go with your decision. That's your tree. And then eventually it will be your heirloom. Your children will remember you because that reflects your thinking and your design. You see now, when you look at it, it's got a jin here, and it looks very wild. Of course, it's not wild at all, but like this one has no more branching, so I better be careful. And maybe what I'll do is I just leave it alone. I would save this one for sure. I need some green, and I will for sure need some green here. Let these grow out. And then I will cut off the top. Hopefully there will be some hidden buds in here that will shoot out to make it the lower branch. Oh, and for sure I will save this one. Again, I will cut off a little bit of the bottom, at the top, so that it may shoot out here because there are hidden buds down there. And hopefully then I will have lower, closer branching. So you can see how beautiful this curve is. Look at that. Right? Someday hopefully there will be branching out of here, but I don't know that. If not, it's okay. You can always, in some sense, justify what you do. And I think this one is too far gone. I don't need it, but why not a little jin to show a little bit more feature, yeah? And this, again, I'll deal with it in a second. I cut off so that there will be growth from close to the base. This also is going up, and there's a branch going down. So I make this into a jin. You can expect quite a bit of dead branches in the forest. Well, that's how in nature branches become jins, so it's okay, just break it. And then this tree, I think I should start over again here and just let it grow out. I think this should be about the length, let that grow out. And I can cut it back if I want to, so leave it extra space, extra length. And then I will make this white by eventually sand it if necessary. You see underneath is wood, so it's white. But anyway, I don't need to do that right now. But you can see this is quite a nice tree. If you look at this is the front, and this here is a little bit long, but I don't have much choice because this is, I hope I'll cut it here so that hopefully something will shoot out here, and then I have a shorter branch. So you actually cut it off to force branching because they're hidden buds that you don't see. And so this is the tree. Look at that. And it will be a nice addition to the forest, my family giant forest. Look at that. I've decided to put into a smaller pot so that the trees will stick out, make it easier for me to reshape it without having to repot it and disturb the soil to slow down the growth. So here it is. I have to cut off that branch. Let me go get a cutter. Sometimes you have to, like this one has a lot of fibrous roots, but it's too long to prevent me to put into the bonsai, into the pot, growing pot, let alone the bonsai pot. So you cut it off, and there's plenty ample other roots to keep the tree alive. So I wouldn't worry too much about being brutal to cut off these, but these can be squeezed in rather than cut off. And like this guy is way too long from the side, so I have no choice but to cut it off to fit into the pot so that I don't have to cut it again when it goes into a bonsai pot. So now the tree is nice and tidy and round, root ball, and it can fit into this pot. It's as simple as that. So thank you very much for watching today's video. This is part of the Project Juniper Project Giant Forest, which I'll add to from time to time. So I hope you will stay tuned. And as I add to the trees, so far I have about 4 trees, plus this maybe 4 or 5. And I intend to make a minimum of a giant forest of 6 and possibly a giant forest of 12 to depict my 6 grandchildren or my entire 6 in a family. So with that in mind then, I thank you very much for watching. Please select like to give me some brownie points. I like that. And please subscribe to our channel so we can notify you of any new videos. So please stay tuned till next week. See you again. Thank you.